All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something really important for anyone holding XRP, or really any digital asset that you're hoping will take off. This isn't about predicting when it'll happen. Nope. It's about what you need to do before it happens. So let's get right into it.
I want you to picture it. The absolute dream scenario. You wake up one morning, you check your phone, and wow, your XRP holdings have just gone vertical. We're talking life-changing money. But once that initial shock and excitement wears off, a very real and honestly kind of scary question hits you. Now what do I do? All of a sudden, you have a problem. It's a great problem to have for sure, but it's a problem nonetheless.
Yeah, because that kind of sudden money brings a whole host of challenges you've probably never even considered. We're talking about huge tax bills that can pop up out of nowhere, new security threats, because now you're a target, and even the possibility of legal fights. That dream scenario, it can turn into a total logistical nightmare if you're not ready for it. So let's just call this first section a problem you want. Because look, getting a crypto windfall is what everyone's hoping for, but being ready for it is a whole different ballgame than just wanting it. A big price rally unleashes all these hidden risks. It's not just about celebrating the gains, it's about understanding what those gains attract. Suddenly, you're staring down the barrel of massive capital gains taxes. You become a much bigger target for hackers and scammers, and you've got to figure out complicated stuff like estate planning, like right now. So how in the world do you get ahead of all this? Well, that brings us to the whole point of this explainer today, the structure first principle. This is a really powerful message being shared by business leader Jake Claver, and it's aimed squarely at the XRP community. The whole philosophy is so simple, but it's incredibly profound. Structure first, gains second. What does that mean? It means you have to build the protective, legal, and tax framework before the value explodes. Think of it like this. You build the vault before you try to stuff it full of gold. So what do we actually mean when we say structure? And look, we're not talking about some generic legal template you download off the internet. A crypto-specific structure is a custom-built, heavy-duty framework. It's designed specifically to handle the unique challenges of digital assets, and it's meant to protect that wealth before it even fully exists. Okay, so how do you actually do this? This isn't just theory, right? It breaks down into a really practical toolkit, and it's built on two core pillars. It really boils down to two key steps. It's a pretty clear process. First, you establish a legal entity, something like an LLC or a trust, to hold your crypto. And second, you align your custody solution, which is just where your crypto is actually stored, directly with that legal entity. So which one is for you? An LLC or a trust? Well, it depends on your goals. On one side, you've got an LLC. That's perfect if you plan on actively managing your crypto, trading, staking, things like that. It gives you flexibility and protects you from liability. On the other side, you have a trust. That's really designed for long-term generational wealth. It's all about preserving it, keeping things private, and making sure it gets passed on to your family smoothly. But here's the kicker, and this is so important. Just creating the LLC or the trust isn't enough. You have to align your custody with it. What this means is the LLC or the trust legally owns the crypto, not you personally. That's a critical distinction, and it's one a lot of people miss. So why does this matter so much? Why go through all the trouble? Well, because it establishes crystal clear legal ownership. That's huge if you ever face an audit or some kind of dispute. It also gives you a much stronger security setup. And maybe most importantly, it can make inheritance so much simpler down the road. Okay, this next part is maybe the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, the massive cost of waiting. Because when it comes to this kind of planning, timing isn't just important, it's literally everything. And Jake Claver doesn't pull any punches here. He says by the time you try to restructure after the gains, it's too late. Think about what that means. If you wait for the price to moon and then try to move your assets into a trust, bam, you could trigger a massive taxable event right then and there, basically wiping out a huge chunk of the benefits you were trying to get in the first place. I mean, just look at the difference this can make on your tax bill. It is staggering. If you do this proactively, with pre-planning, you can set yourself up to minimize that tax hit. But if you wait and try to do it after the fact, that reactive move could mean you're paying way more to the tax man, all because of bad timing. So the takeaway is super clear, right? The time to talk to legal and tax pros who actually get crypto is now. while prices are relatively calm. You build the house on a solid foundation, not in the middle of a bull run earthquake.
Okay, so let's pump the brakes for a second. Is this complex, expensive planning really necessary for every single person who owns some crypto? Let's add some important nuance here for the everyday investor.
It's really important to get a balanced view on this. A prominent voice in the XRP community, AlexRXP, made a fantastic point in response to all this. He basically said, hey, this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. And he's right. Look, if you're a retail investor and your holdings are closer to, say, $1,000, the cost and the headache of setting up a formal trust or an LLC, it's probably going to outweigh any benefit. For smaller portfolios, these kinds of structures are likely overkill. But, and this is a big but, the core principle here is valuable for everyone. While the specific tools like an LLC or a trust might be for people expecting truly life-altering returns, the mindset of planning ahead, that's for everybody. If you really believe this has the potential for major growth, then the time to build your strategy is now, not later.
When you zoom out, what this all really signals is a bigger shift happening. The world of digital assets is, well, it's growing up. Crypto wealth management is moving beyond just a speculative casino game. It's maturing into a serious asset class, and that demands the same kind of thoughtful, long-term planning you'd apply to real estate or your stock portfolio.
So I want to leave you with a question to really think about. When you look at your own portfolio, what do you see? Is it just a lottery ticket, a hope and a prayer that you might cash in big one day? Or do you see it as the foundation for your financial future? Because how you answer that question, well, that should probably decide your very next move.